So the last time the 3 Inches were here was?
It was Music Week, and I'm going to say early 2006 in Montreal. Was it 2006? 2007.
Early 07.
My years are off a little bit. But it was, yeah, Music Week. It was really cool.
It's your scene. I mean, you sound like Priest and Crocus. What is your scene?
We're just doing this. It sounds like a really stock answer, but we're just doing music that we really like, you know. And more often than not, when we're, you know, there's the obvious influences that you mentioned, but there's a lot going on. I think that's why we kind of stick out no matter what we're doing. You know, there's a huge list of influences from everybody. So that, you know, that culminates into what the band is. I'm just going to say heavy metal music. How's that?
It's fair. It's fair. Now, we cover a lot of the hardcore scene, all right?
Yep.
We interviewed a band called Textbook Tragedy earlier this year from Vancouver.
Yep.
And their bassist said that 3 Inches was actually his first metal show ever.
Really?
Yeah, and he spoke very highly of you guys.
Well, that's a big compliment, and I'm going to say that when he saw the band, that was before my time in the band. But 3 Inches of Blood, you know, they started their own scene, kind of outside the confines of the Vancouver metal scene. Because in Vancouver, there's not really a big all ages thing going on out there, which is unfortunate. But they started their own thing, and kind of like in the skate punk scene, doing their thing, and they rose, you know, kind of to where they were when I joined the band, and then we got signed, and we kind of left Vancouver just to get the music to the people. But I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there. But it's cool that was his first metal show. You know? Cam and I, Cam, our singer, he used to put on shows on the island, Vancouver Island. Him and Steve Bays from Hot Hot Heat, they used to actually play in a metal band together. But they used to put on their own shows, and Strain was one of the bands that they used to get to play a lot. And that was an influential band all around because they were super heavy mosh core or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, you know, whatever you want to call their style of music, but they were awesome band, Strain. Yeah.
To what extent did, I guess, the BC hardcore scene, or just hardcore in general, influence you guys? Because, you know, metal tends to be so epic and so on its own that it doesn't really acknowledge many hardcore influences, but hardcore is a big influence to metal.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm gonna have to plead ignorance on a lot of my hardcore history. I've been fans of a lot of hardcore bands growing up, but I didn't know that they were hardcore bands. I just thought they were just really heavy bands, you know, like Strain's a good example. Hatebreed is a great example. Where I just thought, you know, coming from where I was, you know, there was heavy music and not heavy music. So I would say that as far as 3 Inches is concerned, you know, just all types of heavy music is our influence, you know. And I'm talking like the first wave of metal, like Scorpions, UFO, obviously Sabbath and Zeppelin and stuff, all the way to Enslaved, like black metal bands, and everything in between, you know, like. I think with our latest record that there's a lot of peaks and valleys within each song. All I can say is, you know, like, there's definitely not, like, I would say a hardcore influence, but bands and just, I'm all about riffs. Like, if a band has super heavy riffs, like, you know, to me, Terror crushes, like, certain metal bands who claim to have wicked riffs. But Terror has wicked riffs and precision riffing that a lot of metal bands don't have. So I think that, you know, everything kind of isn't like incestuous with scenes and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not very knowledgeable with current music. You know, like if someone was to play me a certain band, I probably wouldn't know who it was. You know what I mean? Like, I've been moving backwards the last few years. I listened to a lot of Rainbow and anything Richie Blackmore was involved with. I've been studying my Blackmore and always listen to AC/DC and, you know, metal music. I listen to country music. I listen to, you know, Waylon Jennings, stuff like that.
Oh my God!
Now, you were talking earlier about having a case full of Jack Daniels
Yeah, you know what? I said that to a couple people, and now it just spread like wildfire. I gotta keep that on the down low.
I don't think it's easy to keep that kind of thing quiet.
Not even with a crowd like this, like a bunch of dirtbags like that. Can you pan over? Dirtbag. But it's actually, it's mellow. It's mellow. It's got a little thin of dirtbags, but there's a lot of us around. The cool thing is our van, we travel in a van and trailer, by the way. Our van's parked way over there. So I'm not going to tell anyone what the van looks like or when I'm going over there. But I'll crack open a couple bottles for my friends and share the good times, I like to say, you know?
Good man.
I seem to be the only guy with a pack of cigarettes here too, which is kind of, you know, lame. But whatever. I'll share my cigarettes, man. Okay. I just like to hang out, and first and foremost, hanging out with my friends is important. I like smoking weed, if that was the kind of question you're asking. But you know, I think moderately. I'm totally lying for the camera, man. Moderately drinking and moderately smoking is good. I just think that every day is a new day. Take it as it comes. You know, stay away from them. If you stay away from narcotics, you're good. So. No, never, right?
What's your favorite kind of weed?
Good weed. You know, like I'm from BC, and there's a lot of good weed there. There's like good weed, and then really good weed there. So I'm kind of spoiled, but I'm not like the type of guy who's like, oh, I got Dr. Octopus Thundercat Mountain strain. I don't know any of that shit. So if someone's like, hey dude, I got the fucking strain, I'm like, just roll it and smoke it. You know, I don't really know. I'm again gonna plead ignorance on that whole subculture. If you were to ask anyone, you know, I grew up with, we're all the same. We just, you know, that's just, it's not the basis of our lives and our partying. It's like, oh, weed, cool, let's get down, or we're gonna go jam or watch a movie. Yeah, smoke a doobie. But, you know, whatever floats your boat. If you're not into weed, I think that's cool too. If you're not into drinking, that's cool too, man.
Solid.
Yeah.
What are some of the values that, you know, you as 3 Inches of Blood represent? Your music talks about all these kinds of fantasy concepts, and I love power metal, but tell me about what values you'd like to send out. Real, social, political, or human values. Things you represent, you believe in.
Our band doesn't have an agenda. We deal with fantasy stuff, like you mentioned, fantasy. You know, we touch on, you know, Nordic mythology and, you know, strength, inner strength and stuff like that. But we don't have a message. So I mean, I have my own personal beliefs and stuff, but that's not what our band's about. We're about escapism. You know, you're not gonna have a really crappy day with your girlfriend dumped you, or your job sucks, or you had a horrible growing up. You're gonna come to our show and forget about that. You know, our songs are like movies in a way, like Conan the Barbarian, or like Event Horizon, or like RoboCop. You know, it's complete fantasy, but you know, there's themes within our songs of, you know, stay true to yourself and be strong, but there's no religious or political agenda we have. It's just pure escapism, fantasy, you know.
Cool. Any final words for people in the scene, outside the scene, you know, future of the band, what to bring you guys on tour? Go ahead.
If there's anyone who watching who's seen the band, thanks for the support. And if you haven't seen the band and you aren't, if you have an open mind, just come and check it out. You know, and if you don't come and check it out, that's cool too. Because in the grand scheme of things, man, I'm not working construction. I'm playing music for a living, and I don't take a lot of things too seriously. I feel very lucky with what I'm doing. You know, we're playing with a ton of great bands, including Iron Maiden today, so I've not really much to complain about. But yeah, my final words would be just thanks for the support, and come out to a show and come and headbang with us. How does that sound?